Welcome to the quiz for the second class of meditations. Thanks for your interest and patience. So we're in Prasangika, and Jenny Lama has said that he's going to, although there are many, many different syllogisms that they use, he's going to present two. And the first one is Chiktuja, or one or many. And there are, he says, 4 crucial ideas in the one or many syllogism that we must be sure of. If you could give me, please, the answers, first in English and then Tibetan for each one.
Well,
so what first is the word that you might use for be sure of?
Nepal?
Yeah. We must ascertain. Oh, there's the answer. I didn't do this right. So the first one is a gimme. What we deny. So what's the word for that?
Kappa or kapcha?
And what's the second thing?
Necessity.
Right, necessity. There's only 2 choices. The Tibetan. Yeah, sorry guys.
No worries.
So professional. Oh.
Thank you, Vanamba.
Kyapa means if this, then this.
Pervasive.
Pervasive.
It's all inclusive. Okay, what's the third thing that we must understand?
There is no one that cannot be known?
Nope. Part of that. There's really not one.
oh yeah.
Good point.
Got it. All right.
And then
I figured out the fourth one.
It's really not.
Tibetan?
Chick?
That's one of the words.
So, Shinme? No, not Shinme? Really? Yume? Oh, right.
Free
Okay,
of
so now this next one will be
Yeah.
being free of being truly one.
right.
And
then what am I
Dumadra?
Oh, I guess I didn't give you that one, but yeah.
It stands to reason.
Okay, so in the fourth crucial idea, that things are not really known, what are the 2 ways we can take the word heaven?
Oh, right. Separate in the sense of not being one? Something like that.
Separate.
That's a good
Someone
question.
else who can give it a shot?
Yeah, please. Oh, we had it separate.
We're talking about is Anatol's body and mind. Is Anatol's body and mind,
Separate
right?
Separate from his parts? Separate from his
Automatically.
As separate entities.
To be truthfully one is
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And then the second way
To be one is to be the other.
is to not be the other.
Oh, okay.
Because we're talking about Tade.
Okay. Separate. But there's 2 meanings of separate. Like the glasses and the phone are separate, right? But what's the relationship between the phone and the phone's parts? Is it separate or not? You see, meaning is to be the phone, to be its parts, right? Or is to be the parts of the phone, to be this phone. Are the parts together the phone?
Which part? Could you say that they're unrelated?
Yeah. So anyway, that's a debate. What's the punchline in Buddhism? Are the parts of the phone or not?
Not if you don't include your imputation.
Yeah, without the karmic seed opening and the unifying picture coming out to put all the parts together, it's not a phone yet, because otherwise you just have pieces of phones laying around. Okay,
And that's lower or higher meaning?
highest, yeah, because that means you make the phone the phone. The phone's not a phone till you make it a phone, and that's why Steve Jobs had to discover the phone, because all the pieces were already there, right?
Alexander Graham Bell did all that.
Alexander Graham Bell. Okay.
Last question. So, Chui Lama says there are also two ways to take the subject of the syllogism, and in this case, our subject is nga. And what is the first? Now, he hasn't said this explicitly, and I'm taking a stab at what this might be, and I'm probably wrong, but I'd love to hear your ideas of what is the way in which we've been taking nga so far in our syllogism.
So he's making a lot of arguments that start with consider
Nga.
I, me. It says he starts in each case. He says take me, and she says the me maybe has two different meanings. What?
No, he said we can take it in two ways.
Yeah.
And then I think maybe a clue would be in the first class, he talked about how we had to make distinctions between two things. And one of those things was the nga. So I'm thinking maybe it's one of the two ways, but
Mm. It's awful
Anyone
quiet in
else?
here.
Crickets.
That's the
Well,
quietest
I sort
it's
of think
been.
it's the self we deny is the
Good, yeah,
the
dark.
one that we're
Not in the sense of dark. Atman, yeah. Self, as opposed to I.
as opposed to like the inherent,
Yeah.
the planquier,
Yeah.
Self.
tendency to grasp to an eye.
Okay.
So here's the last vocabulary word. It's like a
Wow, that's a good one.
kunsop chache suwa. Oh,
Milua.
this was, I'm sorry. We had it
Whoa.
last time, never mind. I forgot to update it.
Don't worry.
Uh,
I didn't remember. It would have been fine.
Oh,
I like the picture.
yeah, at least I got that right.
What's the one on the left called?
Jinshe.
Cheishin.
Jason.
What's the one on the right called?
Suknyan.
Suknyan. Yeah, Suknyan. Okay, good. Image in front of the mirror and image reflected in the mirror. The first one exists, the second one doesn't. I mean, in a real sense. Okay.
In the sense of being like the first one.
There is a unshaved face in front of the mirror. That exists, but the one in the mirror is not real. Yeah, okay. All right, here we go. I can take the plane.
My sincere apologies for being so unprepared.
Oh, okay.
Wasn't that bad?
Okay, we're back to the second argument. We're going back just to catch what we're arguing about. Please read here. Chechen. Let's take the me, okay? I went back 2 lines from where we stopped, I think, right? Here's where we stopped, and I'm going back 2 lines. It is, yeah, but so is the other one. So let's take me. Please read. No talking in the class. Say again, I couldn't hear you. Yeah, relative to the body and mind, it is not what?
Such that to be heard.
Yeah, it's not.
being the body.
It's not separate. Automatically, okay. Once you throw in automatically in any Buddhist statement, you can just about throw it out. Okay, meaning without your seats, from its own side. Okay. Classic example in the kitchen.
The one that
Yeah, you didn't. I didn't do anything, and he's yelling at me. Okay, which in Buddhism doesn't exist. There's no such husband. Okay, you always did something. It's always the wife's fault. Okay. Okay. He's not separate from his body and mind. Me is not separate from my body and mind because. And we learned this idiom last time. Don't say deme dunshin. It's almost like you got to say the 4 syllables together. Deme dunshin. Yeah. me is not something which is totally unconnected to my body and mind. Okay, it's not something which is. If you take away the body and mind, it's not like me could float around on its own without a body and mind. Okay, all right, and then he said, just because there's no me which is floating around, which is totally not connected to my body and mind, doesn't mean that it's automatically not separate from the body and mind. You could be separate from the body and mind automatically, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're floating around as some separate thing which has no connection to the body and mind. Me can be separate from body and mind naturally, but that doesn't mean there has to be a soul floating around which is not connected at all to the body and mind. There can be something not totally connected to the body and mind, which is not totally unconnected to the body and mind.
That just sounds like nonsense. I'm sorry. I don't.
Well, I'll say it again. Well, it's kind of the difference between the soul and Michael. Okay, so what the other guy's trying to say is, Michael does have some existence, sort of independent from his body and mind. But if you took away the body and mind, there wouldn't be that Michael. Okay, like some separate soul or something like that. That's where he is. But he also threw in the word, the killer, Rangshinki, automatically. So once you throw the word automatically into a Buddhist argument, it's already a stupid argument. Okay. Now, whether what he said might have worked without the automatically, I don't think we're going to get a chance to see. Okay, but we're headed for the automatically. We're gonna shoot him on the automatically. You know, we're not gonna say, is it possible there's a Michael that's not exactly connected to his body and mind without there being a Michael who's totally free of his body and mind? We're not gonna talk about that, which would have been nice. We're gonna talk about, he used the word automatically. We're gonna attack him on the automatically. Okay. I'll say it again. I'll say it again. This one, Delme Dunshin, totally unconnected, independent of body and mind. This one, lightly related to the body and mind. How's that? Okay.
Wait, so you're saying there's a difference in degree between pattern and...
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, that's all. Delme Dunshin emphasizes completely independent body and mind. If you took away body and mind, it would still be floating around. Okay. And it would have been nice if we attacked him on that, but we don't. At least not right now. Please read. Yeah. Good. Good. Raklepa. Yeah, we just kind of. This is kind of, what do you call that? Dogmatic answer, okay? Kyapte, you know.
It is so necessarily.
Yeah. If Michael doesn't exist, it's totally different from his body and mind. He can't exist as something kind of connected to his body and mind if you add the word naturally. Because, here we go. If something exists naturally, Rang Shinki Drumna, if something exists naturally, then it would have to exist as something you could point to, okay? You could consider completely separate loksu and unconnected to the body and mind. Okay, if something existed naturally, it could not have a dependent relationship. Because naturally means not dependent. Okay, so if something existed by nature, it would have to exist as something totally unconnected. Because if it was in any way connected, you can't use the word nature. Because that's built in. Okay, Chirte, here you go, Sugang. If you get it right, I'll stop asking you. Tepa, good. What's the short definition of dependent origination? Tudo. Yeah, just 2 syllables. Tudo. Okay, tendel, definition is tudel. Reliance origination. It's the definition of dependent origination. Okay, that's all. Yeah.
Now, are we continuing with a second reason, or are we responding to some interjection of a fault?
He said Makhyap. He said Makhyap. Just because there's no totally unrelated Michael doesn't mean there's not a kind of related Michael automatically. And then we don't attack him on the idea, we just attack him on the automatically part. Okay, look, if something's automatic, it wouldn't have any connection to anything at all anyway. Okay, why? And by the way, the te is related obviously to the word for to view or to look. So when you depend on your mom, it means you look to your mom. You know, you look to your mom for help means you rely on your mom. So the verbs in Tibetan are related. To look to somebody and to depend on somebody is related. Okay, so and rak lepa is a third synonym for depend. So you've got ten, R-T-E-N. You've got te, L-T-O-S. And here you have a colloquial, rak lepa. What are the pieces? I have no idea. It's you just always read it together. Rak lepa. You say rak lepa. Like one word, rak lepa. So rak lepa means, I don't know. Now we got to find a new word. So tenba is depend upon. Terpa is rely upon. And rak lepa means colloquial word. Lean on. You all need someone. We can rock lepa. Okay. Depend on. Rely on? No. Lean on. It's kind of lean on. Okay.
When it says Majawa look, how do you know it's not? I mean, just if you didn't know the context so well, would you know that it's a positives rather than not being intentional?
Because he's been playing with degrees of dependence. That's the context. That's how it helps you translate it. He's trying to repeat for emphasis because he's been talking about degrees of dependence. So he wants to nail it down, you know. He could have said Madawa Yoga, but he wants to hearken back to the complete independence as a Jome Dunshin right here, Jome Dunshin. So he's trying to nail that word down. Totally unconnected, separate thing. So he says unconnected, separate, consider it totally outer space. Michael, soul, no body, no mind, floating around, you know, going to the next life. Okay, take that. If something depends on the body and mind, it cannot be natural. It cannot be natural. Depend is a four-letter word to the natural. Yeah, natural hates the word depend. Okay. Exactly. Yeah, you can say that. Or by nature. Sometimes I say through some nature of its own. Why do I say some?
Because it has a nature, but it's not the nature that you're attributing to it. It's a little bit pejorative.
It's pejorative. It means he says he has some nature. Oh man. She claims to have some understanding. Okay, so some in English. When you say in English through some nature of its own, you are criticizing the word nature. You're saying, come on. When you say, he's got some excuse for not paying me today, but it means you don't believe it. When you say some, so sometimes I like to translate it as through some nature of its own, meaning I know it's not no such thing. When you say through a nature of its own, you are allowing that it could exist. So that's one of the tests I use when I open a Buddhist translation. If they say it has a nature, it doesn't have a nature. I'm suspicious that the author doesn't understand that this nature is totally non-existent. You know, you got to say some nature, right? He's got some excuse for not coming to class, but...
Is the Tupa and the Rakle, are those the positives? Or
they are positives, yeah. I mean, you can read it as an adjective. a leaning on the sense of relying, but it's kind of artificial. Yeah, but again, he's piling up a positive here because he wants to nail it down. Okay, he didn't have to say raklepa. He just wanted to nail it down. Okay, all right. Okay.
Feel the same self-existent here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And don't forget, in different schools, sometimes natural is okay and self-existent is not okay. So it's only in the highest school that you have. We did it at China Soft Power. We spent an hour on 20 synonyms for self-existent. And they're not all the same in all schools. It's like some schools would say heat is in fire, but fire doesn't exist from its own side, for example. Yeah, okay, all right. Nipani, what is Nipa? Let's go back.
Ways that we can take things off. So we just finished the first way that we can take things off.
Did we?
Right there.
Where? Here?
Dear Chilchen.
Oh yeah, okay. We can take the me in two different ways. But here's the second one. No? Okay. All right, here's the second way to take me. Okay. Please repeat. Please read. By the way, your text, you want to explain it to our guests? What is your text? So we're taking 10 different texts from 10 different eras of Buddhism. We're covering 25 centuries of Buddhism. So each guy's text is like 3 centuries.
So my text is written by this absolutely fabulous author who was a teacher in a monastery. And he's nearing the end of his life, and he's like eloquently written about all things about Buddhism, and he's like, oh, there's something I gotta say. I gotta get this book out. It's like one of the last books he ever wrote. And this book is about the most important thing that we need to understand in order to reach enlightenment. And that is precisely how is it that there is no self to things.
Yeah.
What does that mean? And so he goes through and he looks at the 4 schools of Buddhist philosophy, and he gets into those differences between them. Not in a really expansive way, the way that Ben's book does, but like in a way that you can take it and go sit on the cushion and meditate on that thing and realize it. Wow.
So her book is of a genre of literature called meditation manual, emptiness meditation manual. Wow. It's specifically an emptiness meditation manual. Yeah, Tati, we call Tati. Maybe. Okay, go. Nipani.
Nipani. Ngarnzin Henke Ki Sungwa Tardupe Dakte Church. Pungpoi Tendu Mede. Pungpoi Tendu Te Dang Chik Dan Duma. Dang Duma Dube Chur. Kyapa Dutuni Ngararo.
Okay, cool. Nipani, second way we can take the me, I guess. What's Ngarn Zin Henki?
The inborn holding to I.
Yeah. So the one you're born with, which oftentimes after that they will immediately say even bugs have it.
But we also had the distinction between the inborn tendency to think me,
Mm-hmm.
the inborn tendency to hold to an I. And this one he's using Zin, so I'm thinking this one is the second of the 2. Wait, remember?
I don't remember, but this says the one you're born with tendency to hold on to a me in a wrong way, right? Okay. Now, if the self, Doc, if Utpala or Michael existed in the way that this ancient habit holds it to be, which means from past lifetimes, which we had the moment we were born. If Michael existed the way this habit of holding to Michael thinks Michael exists, okay? But that one is Pumbutang to me.
It's not resting upon
does not rely on.
Yeah, it doesn't have any relationship to Michael's body and mind. Okay, if let's talk about Michael as I have always thought of Michael since the day I was born because of my past life seeds. Okay? That Michael has no relation to Michael's body and mind. Why? Because it would either have to be the same as Michael's body and mind, which here is called one, or it would have to be different from Michael's body and mind, which is here called separate, okay? Which he stretches to mean one or many. Okay, so either Michael, that I think of as me since the day I was born, is the same as my body and mind, or it's something separate from my body and mind. Okay, got it? And this is a part of a famous proof called, yeah, if something exists from its own side, it's either got to be one thing that exists from its own side, or it has to be more than one thing that exists. And I like that for many. I like that for many. Yeah, more than one. I mean, play with it. It's your translation, but look, if there's something that exists from its own side, like the husband in the kitchen. I didn't do anything, husband. You walk in the kitchen, he yells at you, which means you don't take any responsibility for him. He's not coming from, you yelled at your children last week. So that husband, according to Buddhism, is emptiness. Don't exist. Could not exist. Okay? I didn't do anything, husband. So if he did exist, okay, he'd either have to be one husband or two husbands. Oh, sorry, one husband or more than one husband. Okay? If you can establish that he's neither one husband nor more than one husband, then he can't be a husband. Got it? That's all. It's an ancient Buddhist proof. Okay. Is there a coffee cup in this room? Well, is there one? No. Is there more than one? No. Well, since everything in the universe has to be one or more than one, there's no coffee cups in the room. Okay. That's all. It's a old Buddhist proof. Okay. So Michael doesn't exist in his body and mind because he doesn't exist as the same as his body and mind, and he doesn't exist as more than one with his body and mind, okay? And the kyaba, we don't have to talk about because we already talked about it, what is the kyaba here, the famous kyaba? No, what's the famous necessity that this proof is built on? There has to be something. If something is not blank or blank, it can't be what?
Michael doesn't exist in these two ways.
Yeah.
If it's not one, it cannot be many.
Good. No, that's not the kyaba. If something exists, it either has to be one or more than one. That's the kyaba. Yeah, that's all. So he says, look, I'm not going to go over the kyaba again. We already did that, okay? We already covered the fact that if an existing thing is neither one existing thing or more than one existing thing, it can't be an existing thing. I mean, it's so obvious, it's hard to think about it. Okay. Do you have a banana? No. Why? Because I don't have one, and I don't have more than one. Got it? Okay. It's very basic. It's so basic, it's hard to think. Okay. Got it? No. Can you loan me $10? Can you loan me a $10 bill? No. Why? Because I don't have one $10 bill, and I don't have more than one $10 bill. Understand? Okay. That covers every $10 bill. Okay. Unless you're a word. Okay, here we go. Let's stop there, just so we don't get indigestion. Okay, Dadubala. Now, the kyaba, everybody agrees. Nobody's got a problem with the kyaba. If something exists, it's got to be either one or more than one. We're all okay on that. Now we just have to prove that Michael is not one and the same as his parts, and he's not separate from his parts, which would be more than one. Okay, got it? So we're going to cover those two. Is Michael one and the same as his parts, or is Michael separate from his parts, which is more than one? Okay. The Tongbo means the first version of the reason is Michael is not the same as his body and mind. Okay, one, which is one. So Choni Lama throughout here is stretching the meaning of one and many. Okay. Dende dakte pumbutende dak dedan chiktamadukte. Michael does not exist as one with his body and mind. Okay. This so-called Michael, Dende dak, this so-called Michael self, doesn't exist as one and the same with his body and mind, because if he did, okay, there would be three logical problems. Okay, if he did, there would be three logical problems. If Michael was his body and mind, there would be three logical problems. Okay, it would be damaged, right? Damaged in logic means there'd be this problem. Okay, inconsistency. Of three different types, three different logical problems here. Number one, let's number them so we can remember. Okay, so here's one, here's two, and here's three. Okay, here we go. Somebody's got to get the scan up. Good luck. There is a problem. Well, maybe not. Okay, let's go.
Do you want me to look at it now?
Let's try to do it without the scan. The scan means we got to go look at the original carving because there seems to be a problem. Okay. And by the way, the reason we have these things typed out is 31 years of work in the refugee camp typing these scriptures. And we've scanned and typed about 5 million pages. Okay. So we have them available. We can search them. And that's the only reason we can have this class. Okay, here we go. Doc.
Kailan du Telwatan, Dakchi Tumar Ye Rick Part Telwatan, Te Dre Ngate K Jik J Part Telway Rick Basum Yi Nube.
I think it's okay. I don't think we have to check the. I don't think we have to check the scan. Okay. Anybody? Dakelen pa dunme de tau.
It's ridiculous to accept a self that doesn't have a body, have an object, have something that it can.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. If Michael is his body and mind, then there's no sense to talk about a self. Then just talk about body and mind. Okay? Why talk about Michael? If Michael is his body and mind, then just talk about body and mind. Why talk about Michael? Okay, got it? It would be meaningless to accept a Michael. If Michael was his body and mind, then why talk about Michael? He's just body and mind. Okay, so why do you keep mentioning Michael? If Michael is his body and mind, then why you need a separate word? Okay, got it?
You say that let's say in this case, Michael is a combination of the two. I mean, I think. It's just
Yeah, but why do you say combination if he's already that? You see, what I mean, why do you have to have another word? Just call it Michael's body, Michael's mind. Why talk about Michael? Okay. Why do you have a word Michael if Michael is his body and mind? Okay. That's the chik in Chiktudo. Okay. So that's the first problem of saying it's one. He is his body and mind. Then who's he? Why you have to have a separate word? It's just a body and mind. Okay. Who's he? If he is his body and mind. Why have him he? Okay. No, it's so simple, it's hard. Okay, number two. And it is okay. I'm going to wipe out the question mark.
Missing is line of question marks there. There's just a smudge here.
Oh, there's a smudge.
That's a nasty smudge. You want to show it to everybody? This is what we got to deal with.
Yeah, so that first letter. And then they just
Yeah.
question mark.
Can you show the line before? The end of the line before?
Sure, yeah, that's fine. Oh,
Oh, that's nasty. By the way, this is why we have Christina Casagorio. This is why we have her project. So they found 300,000 books in Mongolia. 60% are repeats. So should we ignore them?
Definitely not.
No, because this guy slopped the ink. You know, maybe he was wiping his nose and but maybe a different printing. The guy didn't slop the ink. So we gotta catalog all of them. Dak Chik Ni. Now go to the next one.
Well, there's where things get exciting.
Dak Chi.
Blank Duma.
We need another carving. We need another carving. We need another carving. There is something there. There is. I think there's something there. I don't think it's just a smudge. But it's totally. I can't. We need another carving. Okay. We have, by the way, we have a printing. I have it at home. I don't know.
It's the same thing.
I have Choni Lama's works printed. So maybe the one they use didn't have.
Hello.
It's in the PDF that we have, I think that.
Yeah, it's a laang, I think.
Or.
It is very nice. Okay, here, show it to people. Dak Chik Ni
Translator.
Laang.
Well, you can see that from there, but there's that same one. It's decidedly less smudgy, which is different than not smudgy.
And should you put that in
Yeah.
I just put it in.
brackets and stuff so that it gets in?
Nah, because it's just a smudge. I wouldn't. It's obviously correct.
I
No,
know,
but it's not in
you have
this
to
text at all
change.
because they had a question. They didn't try. They just.
Yeah.
Do you want to put the law?
So it's not in our version on the ACIP database, is what I'm saying.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay, we can do that. Okay.
This version.
Well, we didn't have it at the time.
Well, we could have both of them side by side.
You can go like this. Okay.
Oh, I see.
So let's read the second. This is the second reason why it would be illogical. The first one is, if Michael is his body and mind, then why you have a word Michael? Just call it body and mind. Because when you say Michael's body and mind, you imply there's something separate from the body and mind, which is having the body and mind. Okay? Dak chik ni lang duma ye rik partawadang. Then you would also have to. Then it would also have to be okay, Rikspar, okay? Then it would also have to be okay to take a single self, just one self, dakchigni, precisely one self, and divide it into many, okay? Now it makes sense, okay? You'd have to divide Michael into many. Why? Because if he is his body and mind, which is plural, then we'd have to say Michael's is a body and mind. Because if Michael is his body and mind, since there's two things, body one and mind two, then there'd have to be two Michaels. Okay, there'd have to be Michael's bodies and mind. Okay, got it?
Yeah.
It's supposed to sound silly because it is. Okay, and thirdly, Dendao nga de. A self like that, a Michael like that, okay, would have to, telwa, come in and out of existence. Kenjik chipa. So the definition of mitapa, anybody for $100? That wake you up? I want the long one.
Now I'm in trouble.
That's a $10 answer if I ever heard it. You're close. Just it sounds like you're tickling his kid. Kitty, kitty. Come on, better. Give me $100 answer. You're close. You gonna go for the whole thing? Come on, Dad. You need money. You got a kid. Say again. Say it slow. I know what your wife's name, but just. Oh, that's not Kate. Go ahead, you got it. Do it slower. Chiki, K-Chiki, Kenji
Chippy.
Chippy. Okay, definition, the long definition of impermanent, changing, which means going in and out of existence every millisecond. Going in and out of existence, on off, okay? Keichiki. Say Keichiki. Keichiki. Kenji. Chippichu. Keichiki, Kenji, Chippichu. Say it again. Keichiki, Kenji, Chippichu. Yeah, definition of impermanence, which is a big deal in Buddhism, right? See, it's good to know. It's going in and out of existence every millisecond, okay? SKAD. Okay, Sakataka dake. So here, then it must be correct if Michael is the same as Michael's body and mind, then it must be the case that Michael must be going in and out of existence every millisecond because his body and mind are. Okay, I guess we would say that. But they want Michael to be more solid than that. Okay.
But it's not true.
It could be an automatic thing that's going in and out of existence.
No, listen. I mean, let's just talk the parlance of the world, right? Normal, jitengi wong du chepe. Normal. What did Nagarjuna say? Whatever the farmers say, I say. Okay. So in the farmers say, Michael had a bad day, but Michael's the same. You see, Michael, which stretches over the 24 hours, had ups and downs. Okay, but Michael doesn't go up and down. Michael's body got stronger or weaker. Michael's mind got sleepier or unsleepier. But Michael didn't change. Michael didn't vary all day. That's the point. Okay, if Michael was if to be Michael was to be Michael's body and mind, which is the correct way to say it. I'll say it again. If to be Michael was to be Michael's body and mind, then you see, he would also vary like this. You see, but he doesn't. So in the world, you think Brigitte is a straight line. Brigitte exists through the whole day, and her body and mind go through changes. But Brigitte, we don't say less Brigitte or more Brigitte at 3 o'clock. Well, that's a good question. Yeah, they would like to think that Brigitte is kind of unchanging. They would like to think that, yeah. Brigitte is an idea. It's a demenduci, technically. Neither mind nor body, right? A changing thing which is neither mind nor body. Okay, but she's the fountain kind of changing thing? What's that mean?
The shape. She keeps the shape even though she can change it.
Yeah, you go to Rome, you say, I want to see the Triveni fountain. Or you go to Yellowstone Park and there's a geyser. But it has the same general shape, even though new water is coming up. It still has this shape, okay? So, okay? All right. Now, he's going to prove the 3 objections, okay? He's going to go deeper. What was the first one?
There's no sense to talk about it.
Yeah, if Michael is Michael's body and mind, then why do you need the word Michael? Okay, if Michael is nothing separate from his body and mind, why do you even have a word Michael? Okay, so here we go. Noche.
Noche tang po yete, cheer tak ni, pong po nye war lempa po tang, pong po ni, te nye war mang chayin pala.
I'm going to stop there just for digestion's sake.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do this piece and then we'll come back to it later, okay? Here's the first problem, which is what? If Michael is Michael's body and mind, then why do you have a separate Michael? Why do you talk about Michael? Okay? Then the answer is, generally speaking, Dakni is the Pumbo Nyewa Lempa Po.
Oh, it's the thing that takes on the
Good. Yeah. Yeah. Michael is the person who took his body and mind at birth. So it's almost like Michael existed before his body and mind, because someone had to take the body and mind at birth, which recalls the first of the 8 great proofs of Kunshi.
Lulenpa Mirungwa. take down.
Yeah, if there's no Michael, who takes rebirth? Okay, who takes a body and mind? If Michael's is his body and mind, then who took his body and mind when they got reborn? Got it? There's got to be a Neralempa, a taker-honorer.
So would you say, generally speaking, it's the self that takes on the body and mind at birth?
Good, exactly. And it's the pumbos which are taken on by that Michael. It's the body and mind which are taken on. Michael cannot be his body and mind because Michael has to put on his body and mind when he's born, like his clothes. You know, first there's a Michael, and then he dresses. You know, the shirt is the body, the pants is the mind. Then someone's got to put them on when they're born, okay? And then the body and mind are what he puts on, okay? That's the Nyewer Langja, okay? That's what he puts on. Nyewer Langja means the body and mind are what he puts on. So Nyewer Langja is the object of Nyewer Lin. Yeah, the taken on thing, he's got to put his clothes on, but he's got to have a body to put his clothes on. So Michael cannot be his clothes. Okay? It doesn't make sense. Rikpe nu. There's a logical problem there. Okay? Yeah. 5, 10, 19, right? Okay, cool. I think I will point out that in today's class, it was easier because Geshe-la didn't say pumbo. I didn't say heaps. I didn't say 5 heaps. It distracts a normal person. It's easier to call it. It's easier to strip it down to body and mind. Okay, when you're talking in this kind of context with normal people in the modern world, if you refer to body and mind as 5 heaps, you already put a barricade in your reader's way. They have to remember what's the 5 heaps, okay, which is just body and mind. Okay. So I'm not pushing you, but I'm saying this might be a place where you might want to use body and mind. Yeah, rather than 5 heaps. But when you're in Stanley's text, and he's pointing out the difference between rupa as a heap and rupa as an ayatana, you gotta use heap. Okay, yeah, okay.
One more question. In ACI, I think we should still have heaps.
Yeah, now ACI was 27 years ago. And I was really into heaps. So yeah, to rewrite ACI is a huge job, and I just don't have time to do it. But yeah, I think when you teach ACI, body and mind's a lot easier.
But it depends on the context.
Yeah, it depends on the context. It depends on the context. Because korwe gyukchir rimgyuchir pumbo namle sowadan dushiloshi pumbo shak. First chapter Abhidhamma Kosha. You know, there's a reason there's 5 heaps. It's that 2 of them cause all the trouble in the world. So if you just say body and mind, you lose that whole explanation. So okay, here we go. Puki joshi metatam rira blingshi nende gyabadi sangye shindu mite uwagi rokunanda shina chupasho Idam Guru Radha Mandana Kamya Dayami Ikewo Kun Sanam Yeshe Tsozo Shin Sanam Yeshe Nechuwe Tabakuni Tabasho Shogudi Shmogudi. Yeah, it's getting hot. It's getting hot. But because I offered umbrellas to boot.